Hey guys, this is Robbie Amped. In this video, I'm going to be going over how to properly take down your PolarStar PR-15 rifle. This one in particular is the CQB, and this, along with all of the newer versions of these rifles, is wired to the rear. Usually, you would need some sort of some sort of delta ring tool to get these delta rings off because of how stiff they are. But all of the newer rifles do not require that, as they are wired to the rear. Starting off, there are many different ways to take down an M4 rifle. The PR-15s are taken apart no differently than a normal AEG, other than the fact that you have to deal with the FCU. And once you get down to the fusion engine, there are some differences as far as internals. But we're going to get started here. This is actually one of the Magpul simulation rubber bullets. It's sort of like a polymer bullet. We use these as punches to avoid marring up the pins on the rifle. So first off, I'm going to take out the front pin on the rifle, and then I'm going to take off the upper receiver. Okay, now we're down to the lower receiver portion of the rifle. I'm going to start off by removing the buttstock. This is actually not necessary for the disassembly of the rifle. I'm just taking it off to give you guys a better view on the FCU and all the wiring in there. I'm going to pull the FCU out of the buffer tube, like so, to expose the wires. There are two wires coming out at the end of the FCU, as you probably know at this point. There is the wire that goes to the battery, the negative and positive wire. Then there are a series of color-coded wires that go into the FCU unit itself. That's your data cable. The older versions, the earlier versions of the FCU, they did not have this plug system. They were each of the wires had its individual port on the FCU, and it was a bit of a pain in the butt to take out because you had to get in there with a small screwdriver to relieve the pressure with the way the wires locked in. With these, it's as simple as giving the wires a little tug. Do not be afraid, the wires are crimped in there pretty good, so giving them a little tug will not harm anything. And then your FCU is detached, your plug is out, and you're ready to roll. So now I have a large 2.5 sized Phillips head screwdriver here. It's about 6 or 7 inches long, just to get the screw out of the buffer tube. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we have the entire buffer tube assembly set aside. The wire itself pulled right out of the buffer tube. With the FCU detached, obviously there's not going to be any issues. If you do not detach the FCU, it is actually not. It's not really 100% possible to get the buffer tube off, because the buffer tube does thin up a little bit toward the end. It's not big enough for the FCU to get through without damaging it. So always make sure you pop off the FCU. It takes 2 seconds on the newer versions. On the older versions, though, you will have to go in there with a small screwdriver and remove each of the ports on there. So from here, the entire buffer tube assembly is removed. So now we're going to move on to the pistol grip. And just like most AGs, there are 2 screws. I'm going to use a 2.5 screwdriver once again. There are 2 screws down in there that we're going to have to remove. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we have the screws removed. Last thing you need to do before removing the pistol grip, your gun side connector needs to be removed. The hole that's usually for the motor and the pinion gear at the bottom of the grip is not large enough in diameter to fit your connector through. So we're gonna have to go and remove this. Once again, just like a Chinese finger trap, you want to pull up. There's a plastic black disc that you'll need to press up against the connector itself, and the entire thing will slide right off. So very simple and very easy to do. And then from here, your pistol grip will simply slide off, and you're down to the body of the gun. Okay, so now, before removing the magazine release, I'm going to remove the bolt catch. I'm going to use a punch here. This is a smaller punch. This is actually a 1/16 equivalent to a 1.5 millimeter punch. I'm going to use to punch out the pin that holds the bolt release in place, and then we're going to go ahead and remove that. Okay, so now with that pin removed, I'm going to go ahead and wiggle the bolt catch out of place. Depending on the gun too, you might actually need to apply down pressure on the other side of the body. There is the working bolt catch. So I'm going to go ahead and push down on that with my finger. That will allow me to slide the bolt catch right out. Obviously I'm setting all these parts off to the side, trying to keep as organized as I possibly can. Okay, so now we have that out. Now the magazine release. I'm actually going, for the purpose of not scratching the body, with these magazine releases, you actually need to apply pressure as if you were removing your mag. You need to press the button in as far as you possibly can, and then unscrew this end of the mag release from the other side. So if you guys give me 1 second, I'm gonna go ahead and actually use electrical tape to tape up all the spots where it could possibly rub, just to avoid damaging or marring the body. Okay, so now that I've applied electrical tape, as I will show you here, everywhere where necessary, where the mag release could possibly rub while I'm taking it out, which I'm going to try to avoid anyway, I can now go ahead and apply pressure from the other side. Once again, I'm going to use my trusty polymer punch here, just to avoid scratching anything. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the magazine release. Okay, so now with the magazine release out, I'm going to go ahead and remove the remaining pins, which include the floor pin in the middle of the rifle here, along with the rear pin. One note I will make, on these rifles, along with a lot of AEGs, the floor pin has a burred end on it to ensure that it locks into the body properly and does not wiggle around while the gun is on the move. On this rifle in particular, the burr side will most of the time be relative to me on the left side of the left side of the body here. So I'm going to pound out using my punch that I used before, pounding it out from the right to the left side. And then I'm going to also remove the rear pin. Okay, now I have the pins removed. The rear pin, along with the front pin as well, actually have a self-locking system, so these will not actually come out of the body. They have a special design to them where they lock on an E-clip to avoid, obviously losing them. But they are actually, the pin is out itself. Don't be fooled to think it's stuck in there. It just has a retention system on it. So now, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and remove the fusion engine. And now at this point, the fusion engine is 100% out of the gun. So now this is the point that you'd probably want to pick up if you were to do some sort of nozzle or poppet valve maintenance or trigger maintenance or anything you would need to do on the inside of the fusion engine. Other than that, that is it for this tutorial. Be sure to check out www.ampedairsoft.com and also be sure to check out some of the other videos we have on the review site. Thank you very much for watching.